Hello, I'm Brian Roten, senior reporter for Hotel News Now. This is another episode in our Summer Demand series in which I talk with hotel general managers across the U.S. to hear how the season is playing out for their properties. Today, we're joined by David Hill, area general manager with Crestline Hotels and Resorts. He oversees the Phoenix Park Hotel in Washington, D.C., and the Dillon Hotel NYC in Midtown Manhattan. David, thank you so much for being here with us today. To get started, tell us a bit about yourself. How'd you get into hospitality? How long have you managed these properties? And give us some highlights about them.
I've been in this business for 40 plus years. I've worked in city hotels, resorts. I've worked internationally in Bermuda, the Caribbean. And I've been with Crestline Hotels for 15 years. And I've been at this hotel, actually at Phoenix Park, for 11 years. It's the longest I've ever actually stayed in a hotel. Um, we are Phoenix Park is a privately owned hotel, boutique hotel. It's 98 years old. It's part of Historic Hotels of America. We are, I like to say, at the corner of Main and Main. We are one block from the Capitol building in Washington, and we're across the street from Union Station, which is the main rail hub. So when you step out of our front door and turn to the right, the Capitol Dome sits literally at our door. So so we are sort of politics central here. Um, and I also support the Hotel Dillon in New York, which is a beautiful boutique hotel in Midtown Manhattan near Grand Central that's currently undergoing a major renovation while open. I have my hands in New York City as well.
Yes, I'm sure that keeps you busy. Just, two hotels to begin with, but having one under renovation too.
Yeah, under the knife.
So, uh, you've got these two hotels in different markets, but they're both in urban locations. And we know, as we look over the past couple of years, those types of markets generally have been slower to recover. So, to get started, let's talk about the current demand mix and guest mix you're seeing at each of these properties.
Sure. So in Washington, D.C., it's business is strong. We had a record year last year in 2023. Uh, the best results we've ever hit in history. The market clearly recovered here, and frankly, it recovered faster in Washington than it did in New York City, in my observation. Um, so the year here has been, well, let me say, I said that we had a record year in 2023. Sadly, we budgeted based on that for 2024.
Mm, mhm.
And no, we're not making budget. We're not doing badly, but there's no way you can replicate a record year. So we found the year is going well. Um, we're it's a little bit more of a struggle to maintain occupancy and ADR than it was in years past. So we've had to be more fluid and flexible to make the pace and keep things going. We're doing well. We're not, we're not making budgets, but we're not. It isn't 20 points off. It's slightly off every month, but
Uh,
it's steady demand and steady pace.
I mean, if you're slightly off based on, projections that were based on last year, that's still not that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it to the bank, but we're proud of what we're doing. But it's certainly a challenge. It's a challenge every day, but it's a challenge for us. Um, we Our market is sort of most hotels here. It's 80% transit, 20% group,
Mhm.
and we fortunately had a group manager, sales manager slot that fell open this year. So we fell out of that game for about 4 months. So our pipeline got a little bit drier.
Mhm.
So we've had to scramble to offset that with transit, which I'm glad to say that we have. Um, so we've maintained the business and occupancy levels, but the mix is a little bit different than what we had envisioned going into the year.
Gotcha. So how about the your New York property?
So New York is strong. New York is back. and it's New York is back internationally. We have serious international travel. New York has always been an international hub, but it's definitely back. Um, and it came back quicker than we'd envisioned. Um, we've been hampered, of course, there because I have two-thirds of the hotels under renovation, so I have a reduced inventory. But we're maximizing what we have available to sell, and we've managed to push the rate as well. Um,
Gotcha.
and we're seeing, pent-up demand for international travel to New York has definitely come back.
How long is the renovation expected to go?
It it should end later this fall, and there'll be actually a hotel name change as well, which I won't unveil that here. But we're basically repositioning the hotel to a high end, like deluxe hotel.
Gotcha. Okay. So, how is that going to is that gonna change up your guest mix, by making
Yeah,
that, repositioning?
it will up the obviously the rate projections. It will up
Mhm.
the level of guests, the quality. Where we may have had a VP level, we may now look at presidents of companies or CEOs or senior level executives. So it definitely ramps up our guest profile and the expectations that we have to deliver on service and expectations for the guests.
Gotcha. And as you are under renovation now, how has that affected, obviously, it affects the occupancy, how many guests you can take in, but has that changed the guest makeup at all, just in terms of what you're able to offer?
Um, yes and no. I mean, the same guests are staying, but we've been very transparent about the expectations. There's actually no lobby, there's no front door because New York City's tiny
Mm,
spaces, and you have to maximize. That's currently our construction entrance. So you go in through a side door. It's not ideal, but we're very transparent with guests that hotels under renovation, it's priced accordingly, so there's no surprises. Um, and so we may have people that are more discounted guests than what we might normally have, and certainly than we will have in future. So we've modified our bookings to reflect the work going on. But now that the rooms are complete and people get these beautiful, glorious new rooms, the rate expectations from us will go up. But likewise, so will the guest expectations of us.
gotcha. So you had mentioned earlier, talking about the your property in DC and where it is, as it relates to your budget. But when you're looking at, the demand that is there, just how close is it to where you had, projected earlier this year?
It's consistent. I mean, it's not far off. Um, we are so Washington locally is very each area is very impacted by its own business dynamics. We
Mhm,
are we are on Capitol Hill. It's all for us, it's all politics most of the year, and then the summer it's leisure transient and still politics. So our business mix is all related to Congress, uh, public advocacy groups or chambers of commerce or business leaders or people coming to push agendas or coming to shake Congress for money. So everything evolves around Congress.
mhm,
Our business dynamics are based on that. And for the summer, it's also a national election year.
mhm.
So that
Oh, is
means that,
is it? I haven't heard anything.
yeah, imagine that. So for us, we live politics every day because I lose a business week in July because of the Republican convention.
Mhm,
Congress is gone. I lose a week in August because the Democratic convention. So I lose 2 business weeks out of my cycle because of the conventions, which I don't have the other 3 years.
mhm.
And then we also will lose the month of October, which is typically a high business month because everyone in Congress is out campaigning.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had to factor all of that into the business equations for the year. And also, as obviously politics changes every minute, and I have to keep taking this forecast projections and changing it based on the dynamics of, who's running and, Congress uh, extending their schedule and all the above. So um, we evolve. Everything evolves around what's happening one block away for us.
Gotcha. And your projections for the Dillon Hotel, how have they played out?
Well, our
I know the
renovation
renovation makes things.
renovation is delayed. No surprise. So we are months off of schedule. Um, but we have what we are seeing in terms of putting our toes in the water for the future, and the guest reaction, the guest response, the ability with having to drive rates gives us a lot of confidence in the future. And look, New York is a very essentially New York is a very stable market. It goes up and down, but in Midtown Manhattan, no matter what, we're one block off of Fifth Avenue, one block from Grand Central. You can't you can't make that up. You can't make for a better location. So
Right.
the we see that the business dynamics, the holiday season's coming up. We have great confidence that our expectations are going to be realized for that hotel project.
Absolutely. As you look to August, you look into September, how is your business on the books pacing out?
August is honestly very good. August can be deadly in Washington, certainly for us, because a lot of our business goes
Mhm.
away. So we have, for the last 5 years, had this sort of August strategy of layering and manipulating and modifying rates and offers over months. And we put that same plan in for this year at the beginning of the year, and it's been very successful. We're actually pacing better than we planned for August, and it looks good. The rest of the year is pacing well. September seems soft, but just because it feels, I don't have any reason to think it won't come together, because it will.
Mhm.
It just feels soft. The booking pace and the booking window is definitely shorter. So you got to hold on for dear life and wait for it to happen.
Is that for both properties or the one
Both,
specifically
yeah,
in?
both properties. It's
Okay.
definitely the booking window is definitely shorter now,
Mhm.
definitely. And I think other people have said that.
Oh, yeah. No, it seems to kinda go back and forth just depending on who you're talking to. Some will say, "Yeah, it's starting to lengthen a little bit," and others will say, "Yeah, it's still pretty short," but I don't think it's anywhere back to, what we would have considered normal, before, 2020.
I will say what does seem but much more normalized here in our market segment is the group. There's a heavy group component for Capitol Hill for, again, the groups coming to lobby Congress, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. And we've watched that, not so much for us, but for our comp set, we watched the numbers grow again. And I can say that for 2024, they the group numbers in our comp set seem to have normalized again. It's taken 4 years since COVID for that to happen, but we finally see it what we call normal again, which is encouraging to see.
Certainly. So when guests are, looking to stay at the Phoenix Park Hotel, what kind of experience are they looking for? And then, the follow up from that, what about at the Dillon Hotel?
So I think for both, we have a really fine, we have an exceptionally good hotel. We rank very highly with service and attention to detail. And I think guests want an expectation is for that, and that to be delivered, and to feel warmth and welcome, and to be looked after. The same in New York. What is different for us now is that starting really last year is the travel experience is so horrific now. And I say that having just come back from vacation on Saturday when I was on the West Coast and flew back, and it got to experience the whole thing myself. To realize that what's unique for this year is that every single guest who comes in the front door to our front desk is bringing all that baggage with them from the airline and the airport and the flights and the delays. So we never had that really before. So we have to do a lot of decompression of our guests when they walk in the lobby because we need to take them down a notch because everyone is coming ready to do battle when they arrive at our hotel. And I'm sure that's the same at other properties too. We didn't have that component before, but we're having to, I don't know, tell guests to breathe and take a breath and step back because they are literally coming in to do battle because they're so worn out.
They're based on the experience they just had, they're expecting more
Right,
of
they're coming in ready to fight, and we say, "No, no, you're not fighting with us.
you
Step
gotta
back."
your front desk has to be trained at de-escalation.
Correct, and it is, and it's so and that is something we never really experienced before, but that's almost every day we have that practice of sort of, okay, meditate, 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 and it makes it hard on my team too, no question.
Sure. You know, they're trying to do their job, they're trying to be welcoming, and it's I I I can't imagine, you know, you're trying to greet someone with a smile and they're coming in ready to argue with you over something that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, yeah, so that's a phenomenon that is, and it's the same in New York, frankly, but that's a phenomenon that we never experienced that before.
Uh, Turning to something you had mentioned before, uh, with your one property that you had the sales manager who was out for, and you had that hole for a few months. I was kind of curious, just looking at and trying to shape your summer demand, your occupancy. What what was your approach to sales and marketing for your properties? And I'm interested to hear, in particular, where, as you mentioned, that you had this spot to fill. How did you manage that?
Well, we were lucky. We managed to recruit somebody after only a vacancy of 3 months, which is a miracle, um, in this particular case. But, we had our business for sales for group for the beginning of the summer, and the summer was already in the pipeline, meaning, we were booking our group, usually 30, 60, 90 days out, and then obviously some other. So we were good for the summer going into the summer, but the group pipeline was now dry because they weren't booking any new groups for the future. So what we're having to do now is scramble to shake the trees to get that pipeline flowing again for September, October, November, December. Uh, the sales manager I had, who was really good and left, um, had done her part to kind of get me set up a little bit for, and of course, my other sales team to get me
Mhm.
set up for the spring and the summer. Um, but our our scrambling has been to offset that for the fall.
Gotcha. So we've been watching every month, to see what direction that inflation is going to go, and by how much it'll change. Uh, Looking at the expense side of the business, how have your expenses been this year? You're in operations, labor costs. I gotta imagine. I mean, they're always the biggest cost here. But how have your labor costs and other expenses been so far this year?
Um, a struggle. I mean, hard. Um, Everything has gone up. I mean, we know that. At
Hmm.
least from the labor aspect, labor seems to have stabilized, because we're not having those crazy wage wars and demands for big increases and people moving for 50 cents like we were the past 3 years. We've always been fairly well paid, our both hotels, and fairly stable, but it's certainly the market seems to have normalized on the wage front, um, which is the good news. But the bad news, it's kind of stabilized at a high level, which we're never going to go down again. So we're going to have to factor all that into the future cost. And my costs are really high here. That makes it challenging. It makes it fun to play with, but it makes it challenging. The cost for everything for goods is definitely just all over the place. and I'm sure other people echo that same thing. Um, we try to pass those costs along. My banquet catering. I mean, the commodities, the produce, the prices are sky high, and they swing. There's such huge swings that we have to keep trying to modify our banquet uh, offerings and modify our prices. Sometimes once every other month, we seem to be changing something because we're trying to cover our costs. And I'm also trying to make some money. And I certainly don't intend to let my prices go back down again because everyone's trying to regroup from the cost increases from last year as we are.
Certainly. So, we're coming up on our time here, so wanted end this on looking ahead to the rest of 2024. What is your outlook for the Phoenix Park Hotel and the Dillon Hotel through the rest of 2024?
So for Phoenix Park Hotel, we're forecasting to still have a strong year. Um, we're we've got all the indications are it will be, uh, because we have elections coming up, and then that rolls into 2025. For us, that means a new Congress. That means inauguration, which is our equivalent of a Super Bowl with high rates. So we have all that to start looking forward to. So we this year has definitely been being a challenge, but it's coming along okay, and that's what it will be. It will be an okay year. Nothing to be ashamed of. We'll be proud of the results. The Dillon is going to be a complete roll up to a brand new hotel when that completes, and so that the 2025 budget will be the challenge to try to achieve somewhere on that.
Sure. I mean, essentially a new hotel and trying to project that out.
Yeah, and that's always the hardest budget to do is a brand new hotel because the history we have means nothing.
Well, David, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today and talking with us, and thank all of you for listening. Stick with Hotel News Now for further coverage.
Hi, I'm Isaac Colazo, Vice President of Analytics at STR.
Hi, and I'm Jan Freitag, National Director for Hospitality Analytics for the CoStar Group. Tune in to our new show, Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast.
It's a podcast on the global hotel industry, its current trends, what we're thinking about, and where the industry's going.
And we like to have fun with the data too. Find us on hotelnewsnow.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe today.
Thanks for listening. This podcast was recorded July 31st, 2024, and produced and edited by Brian Roten. Go to hotelnewsnow.com every day for the latest in hotel industry news.